I covered our story in the first video, so if you haven't checked that out yet, I'd encourage you to check out the link below so that you can follow along and understand what we're creating. Let's go! I'm reinforcing the storyline here because if you create with intention and develop reasoning behind your decisions, it'll come through in the execution. Without a story, it's really just a moving graphic. Our job is to take people on a journey where we create something that's pleasing to the eye, but also something that has some utility. In this instance, we're sharing information with our fans by way of a stats graphic. We're advancing our story in this board by taking the tip off from Artboard 1 and turning it into a phone screen in Artboard 2.
So I'm gonna just option click and drag background up to Artboard 2, and I want to change that color. So if I double click on this, I am going to color pick my pink. So that's going to be our background color. And we also have our court lines, so I'm going to drag those up. And I want those to be facing a different way. So let's hit Command T to pull up our transform. Once we get these arrows that are facing either way, like it's a rotation, I'm going to go ahead and click and hold Shift again so it constrains every 15 degrees and turn them the other way. The advantage of using artboards is so that you can see from one frame to the next. So in frame 1, you can see it's a little wider, and in frame 2, we're going in. So I'm going to punch in a little bit and make this feel a little bit tighter so that when the ball comes down and the tip-off is officially done, I want this to feel a little bit tighter. So I'm going to hold Alt and drag out so that it feels like the background's a little bit bigger. We also need to change the color. So if I right click, go to my blending options and do a color overlay, and I'm going to select this darker blue for my color overlay. Hit OK. Great. So we have those two elements. Now we need the ball to kind of start to open up, and we need the center line. So let's do the center line first. Here we go. Center line. And let's rotate this. Same thing, Command T, hold Shift, and rotate it till it's across. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to click here in the middle, hold Alt so that it mirrors itself as we make it a little bit bigger. All right, when you're done, hit Enter. And now we need our center circle. Go up. And if I actually click in here and click my rectangle, I do need to change this center line to be my darker blue. And I can go over here and do the same thing with my center circle. So click the rectangle, change my fill to be that one. All right, now that I've done that, I'm seeing that my line here isn't centered. So let's pull up those rulers again. Artboard 2, and see if I can get that line. There we go. Yeah. Now I know it's rightfully centered, just like the center circle. So now I'm gonna hit Control:, again to turn those off, and I want to expand this circle. I still want the properties. All right, so I'm going to hit Command T to find this middle, and then I'm going to get my marquee selection tool and see if I can kind of stay right there. And as I click, right in the middle, and what I want to do is separate this circle right in half. So if I hit my clipping mask, it's going to give me 1/2 of the circle. Okay, let's duplicate this by holding Alt or Option, drag it out, and if I click on my clipping mask, you see the black and white. What I want to do is invert it, and there's an easy way to do that. You hit Control or Command I, and that's going to give me my full circle again. So what I want to do now is take the bottom, and I should rearrange these so that they're in the right order, and I'm looking at the white So wherever it's white is the part that is being impacted here, or that's visible. So if I drag this down, I have the bottom half. Maybe just take it all the way to the bottom here. Click on the top one, drag it all the way up, meet the top, and then I just need to connect these points in here. So I'm just going to grab a rectangle, and the fill is already there. So add a new layer. On my new layer, let me zoom in here so I get this right. Let's just create a square that's the exact same size, but I didn't set this up right. So let's turn off my stroke, and on my fill, I want it to be the blue color. Great. So if I click off, we have exactly what we're looking for, an expanded center circle that we're going to also turn into our phone. So now that I have these three elements, I want them to all stay together if I need to move them. So I'm just going to call this background center circle. All right. So now I want to unveil then what's going to be coming up in Artboard 3, which is going to be the reveal of the player's name. So let's go ahead and start to create that. And I'm just going to, again, click the rectangle tool here, turn off my stroke, go into my fill, and I want my fill to be this light blue color. You can see the basketball went to the background, the light blue color is going to go to the middle, and the background went to the circle. So you can see I'm also doing some color changes along the way here too, and that's all intentional to make it feel like things are changing and moving along as well. And now I'm going to be making the beginnings of the screen. So let's go ahead and draw that out. Trying to hit that pink here. There we go. So it's centered. Great. All right, so let's go ahead and add some text for the player name that will start to reveal in Artboard 3. So if I'm going to click up here, I am using Industry Ultra Italic. And if you don't have this font, you can actually download it from Adobe Fonts by clicking here and navigating to it. Just click, caps lock. We're going to use Candace Parker. Candace. And I'm just going to use first name. Let's see, Parker. And I'm going to get all this stuff laid out correctly. So I need to go up here into my text properties. So the leading between each line needs to be significantly lower. If I go 40, it gives me just a small distance there. It looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and copy. Zoom out a touch. Make sure I get to the end of my line here. Hit enter. And I'm just going to duplicate and duplicate. Okay. Because what I want to do is have her name flow through here, but I want to give it a little bit more pizzazz to it. So if I double click on my text again, up here I have the ability to warp my text. A whole bunch of different options. I'm going to choose the flag. All right, so I'm at 10 with the flag. You could also choose wave or arc. You can play around, have some fun with these. So I'm going with flag at, let's just call it 12 because I used 12 before. I like keeping numbers consistent. All right, so now that I have that, the text color is not right according to the scheme that I've laid out. So let's go ahead and click on here and change it to pink. Perfect. And the other thing we need to do is also constrain it within this square. So if I click on this rectangle and I hold Command or Control and click the rectangle and then click up to my text, I'm going to be creating another clipping mask. So that is going to constrain that text within the bounding box. And if I decide maybe that text looks a little big for now, if I unlink these and click on the text and hit Command T, I can still adjust my text without affecting the clipping mask. Okay, so now you can see how that's going to kind of flow through there. Let me turn this back on, relink it. I actually don't love that the rectangle on the inside has such sharp corners when the rest of this is all pretty rounded. So I'm going to actually rectify that here. I'm going to go into my rectangle, and in my properties panel here, I have these corners here, and they're all linked together. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and click on one of those and round it. And that looks just a little bit better. I'm maybe go 60 again, and divisible by 12. All right, that looks pretty good. So then the other thing I need to do is Control or Command click on that rectangle. Go ahead here, right click, and delete this layer mask. And then I can add a new clipping mask there with the rounding. Okay, that looks much better. And we are all set to go for Artboard 3.